Experience tranquility.
Hello and welcome everybody. This is the Iris Podcast. I am Ski Free Yeti. Joining me today is NPC, and on my far left we have Specs. Unfortunately, Nick couldn't be here tonight. We pour one out for him and we press on nonetheless. It was an exciting week 3 in the Overwatch Tranquility community. We're not going to waste any time getting into it. The first thing I want to talk about is our very exciting special event that took place on Thursday, and that was the Widowmaker 1v1. First and foremost, I have to say our viewership was incredible. We peaked at 138 viewers, 414 unique separate views, and honestly just incredible Widowmaker play all around. It was easily our most successful stream with regards to our viewership numbers, and just based on pure hype alone, it was incredible. It was so much fun watching everybody come out to support their hit scans on their team, and special congratulations goes out to Walk for taking that whole tournament down, winning the grand finals over Melts, who took down the Harmony tier. Second in each tier we had Abar or Street Baggy in the Discord tier, and Landvetter from Karma in the Harmony tier. Again, that's Abar from Aimbots and Guac from Sugar Rush, as well as Melts from the Jetpack Cats. So Melt's not quite just so Melt's trying to prove he's not that Genji one trick we meme so hard about. I think the memes might only be slightly overwhelming now as opposed to constant. So I think that's definitely an improvement there for Melts. But honestly, it was a great match. It was a great tournament, guys. Over 3 hours of content. It's available on YouTube now. If you'd like to take a look at that, you can take a look at our YouTube channel, and you can see it there. It was a lot of fun casting and producing that. A long night of Widow 1v1 made very entertaining.
Yeah, shout out to those casters. I know 3 hour long cast. It was brutal, but they powered through, and it was good from start to finish.
Yeah, and shout out to me for beating Guac last year. So I am the best Widow in the community.
We'll see about that. I mean, everybody knows that's not true.
I smell a rematch coming.
Not at all. I smell a rematch coming. It's going to be Bren versus Gesture style. Moving on here, then. We had a couple of awesome, exciting feature matches this week to cover, too, guys. Our Tuesday feature match, our Tuesday kickoff, was between Maelstrom and DDoS. And Specs, take it away.
Yeah, so Maelstrom ended up taking this 1-3-1, taking down Ilios, Kings Row, and Gibraltar. The first two maps were a little bit back and forth. DDoS and Maelstrom kind of looked on the same level. After halftime, Maelstrom pulled away. Their attacks on both Gibraltar and Kings Row were very, very solid. And they continue to look like the scary team that we keep pegging them as.
I would definitely agree with that. Maelstrom looks really good right now. I have to give a massive amount of credit to Ruru. We always talk about triage when it comes to that team. I think this feature match was Ruru's coming out party. Looked really strong on that projectile roll. NPC, did you take anything from that match?
Yeah, no, it was great. I really felt like it was back and forth. I mean, Maelstrom took Ilios really easy.
Mm-hmm.
Then, DDoS ended up taking Hanamura, which was kind of a surprise to me, considering Hanamura is typically a good map for Maelstrom. And then even DDoS forced Kings Row into extra rounds, and it went all the way. But I think DDoS just ran out of gas. Watchpoint Gibraltar, they couldn't even complete the second stage. So
Absolutely. It was an exciting match to watch, guys. I'd highly encourage you guys, again, check that YouTube VOD out. It's available on YouTube and also on our Twitch as well. Going into the Sunday feature, then, that was Tough Luck taking on Harmony in Chaos. Harmony in Chaos looking for the first win. Tough Luck looking to stay undefeated, and that was NPC. Take it away.
Yeah, so it went all the way to map 5. I liked this match a lot. I really enjoyed it. We didn't get to see quite the very, very, very end, but Tough Luck did end up taking that second map on that control point. I did think, though, Cool Sam, he's onto something. He came up with a theory that Tough Luck only loses maps when Bang Bang Bear and Kingdom are the tank players together. When it's Rock Jumper with either one of them, they do fine. But Kingdom and Bang Bang Bear, they can't. I guess the synergy is just not there, because that seems to be exactly what happened here on Sunday night.
It's an interesting theory, to say the least. I think it's worth pointing out here that Harmony and Chaos is now 0-3, but let's look at who they faced. They faced One Last Ride, who's turning out to be a very legitimate team. I think nobody's doubting that right now. They faced Tough Luck, who, again, as much as we've said things about Tough Luck, they're still 3-0, and taking down Harmony and Chaos. Harmony and Chaos looks to actually be a pretty darn good team. I'm pretty impressed with Godsent on their team. He looks really good. He complements Maxix really nicely. The player who stood out to me the most actually was Steve Buscemi. I think he had a really great match in general. He basically he struggled against Rock Jumper, but I feel like Rock Jumper is probably going to be one of the best tanks in the Discord tier. But in general, I think he was, if not winning the tank battle against Kingdom and Bang Bang Bear, he was right there with them. So I think he was consistent throughout the whole night, and he was kind of a pretty strong force with regards to that Harmony and Chaos squad. They're 0-3 right now, but I don't think that's gonna last. I know we kind of talked about them last week. There's some concern there, but look who they're losing to. They're losing to.
They've definitely got a tough schedule at the front.
They're losing very close to legitimate teams. Now, I have a feeling I'm going to turn it over to Specs, and Specs is going to say something completely contrary to that.
They just don't play the meta. I don't know what they're doing. They did not run a second of Orisa last night. It's very hard to run a Reinhardt into an Orisa Hog comp where you're just going to get melted. It's very difficult. And I think in order to really succeed, they need to somewhat bend to the meta a little bit.
Now, counterpoint, they didn't do that last season.
They didn't, but that was at a 2650 level, not a 33 level.
Fair point. We'll see if Harmony Chaos can get off the schneid this week. They do have a match coming up this week here against the team that I suddenly forgot who it was, but that's how prepped I am. Look at me go. A very winnable match this week against a team by the name of Instalock.
Yes.
1 and 2, baby.
We'll get to you, buddy. We'll get to you. All right, so let's take a look here. Let's take a look here, guys, at the rest of the matches this week. Again, we had Aimbots taking a match in the Discord tier 3-0 against One Last Ride. Sugar Rush took down Prodigious 3-2 in a very close match, bringing Sugar Rush actually to 3-0 now. Alta 4 gets their first win, taking out Infius Gaming 3-1. Instalock also gets their first win, taking out Eclipse 3-1. Renovaccio gets a nice little happy bye from the Frantic Lava Cats. And Invictus takes a 4-0 over Otaku. Otaku seems to be undergoing some sort of restructuring right now, guys. So it'll be interesting to see what Otaku does from here. And then the hotly anticipated matchup between Meteors and Commit turned out to be a dominant 4-0 from Commit. The Commit definitely is looking strong there. Now going to the Harmony tier, we take a look at Illusion against Karma. Illusion in the battle of 2-0s takes out Karma 3-2. Careless Pandas takes on a very game spare change, and they do manage to sneak out a win 3-2. We do have Vitamin C and Pacified Pythons taking place tonight, so stay tuned for those scores, guys. Undead Battery takes the bye over Overtime. Comets falls to Minty Hippos 3-1. The Holy Jalapenos get the 4-0 over Boop, and Jetpack Cats take another 3-2 win over the Fighting Potatoes that just can't seem to win a map 5 this season. And then again, reminder of our features: the Discord tier, we had Harmony and Chaos falling 2-3 to Tough Luck, and we had Maelstrom taking the win. That is some botched spelling of Maelstrom over DDoS 3-1. Specs, you want to explain yourself on that one?
There is no autocorrect in Photoshop.
That's true. There is no autocorrect in Photoshop. All right. So moving on here, guys. Then let's take a look here at. I'm sorry. So obviously, week 3 was an incredible week, guys. There's a lot of really cool plays that were sent in, and we're gonna take a quick look at those. So enjoy.
No, there ain't no stopping us. Fly without boarding pass. Couldn't catch me, I be moving fast. Call me a shooting star. Let 'em know who you are. Flying up in a bar. Wish on a star. Time to show 'em who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. Didn't even get to cross. I said I'm moving too far. Get to glass. You're looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Tell them I be big in the game like she went and got them breast implants. I said I'm moving too fast. Didn't even get a glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you had swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We aren't hating because you want. Shining like it's neon. Rock like kings of Leon. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Yeah, shoot. Yeah, shoot. Yeah, shooting. Yeah, shooting shots. Shooting stars. Didn't even get to cross. I said I'm moving too far. Get to glass.
Lots of fun this week, guys. Thanks for bringing in your plays to take a look at here. I want to spend some time kind of going over some surprises. We're 3 weeks in. Let's talk about what's going on here. NPC, any takes as how the standings or any scores from last week that stand out to you?
What just overall in the whole season, I think one of the big standout for me is aimbots. Last season, I had a saying. I didn't say it out loud too many times, but my saying was, I'd rather lose with the potatoes than win with the aimbots. They were very, very difficult team to listen to on comms. And this season, the whole season, they've turned it around. Last week, I watched them lose against Prodigious in a map 5. Heartbreaking loss. But at the end, they were like, hey, good try, everybody. Good job. We did our best. We made it to map 5. They stayed positive. They said, let's regroup in 5 minutes. We're going to talk about how we can improve. They did improve, and they came back to get that 3-0-1 against One Last Ride. And One Last Ride's turning out to be a contender themselves. So I think that positivity is paying off for the aimbots.
I think Juke, to me, is the big difference for aimbots. I think Juke kind of radiates positivity wherever he goes, and that's been really helpful to the overall nature of the aimbots. And honestly, that team is impressing me. They're making some changes right now. We talked about Just Savage a ton last season, and this has kind of been a nice little start for him, really getting going right now. And I see that team, they're going to be like a kind of like a steamroller here right now. I could see them making some real waves as the season goes on. My big surprise, and I have to give a shout out to them, is Illusion. I talked some crap about them at the beginning of the season, was worried about their DPS not being consistent enough. Their DPS are consistent enough. They're playing really well. And honestly, Gecko, Kurt, and Black Ninja, they're all doing really well right now. That team is going to be very spooky. And on the backs of those three, they could really, really make a deep run this season. But the biggest thing, in my opinion, is bringing in Player. Jewish Missile's a really good main tank, but Jewish Missile's aggression goes to a fault at times. His aggression will work when he gets the support he needs and when he can get away with it. But a lot of teams capitalize on those mistakes. Player does not make those same aggressive mistakes. Player is a very good main tank, and he kind of helps bring everybody together on that team. He's another kind of reinforcing force on that tank line, throwing Nixal on off tank for them as well. It's a nice little combo there, guys. They look really strong, and honestly, Illusion looks really impressive. Specs, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think, there's two teams right now that have only lost one map, and I think both of those teams actually surprised me completely. That's Commit, and that's Undead Battery. I mean, I know Battery is a little bit they're up in the air right now just because of their schedule so far. But Commit looks scary. They're a very solid team. A 4 over Meteors is impressive, to say the least.
Commit, I think, firmly established themselves at the top of the mountain. Is there any argument on that one?
No.
I mean, it was an extremely close 4-0. I mean, it was a 4-0, but we had like 7 to 8 on payload map.
Yes, I remember 7 to 8
they completed the map twice.
Right. I mean, Meteors is still a really good team, and I know they just lost My Big Marf. That's going to hurt that team without a question, but they still have Courage, and they still have HQC. They still have Dunzo coaching that squad. They still have Cool Sam. I think they'll be, and they still have a Rise in that support line. I think that they're going to be fine. Meteors will be just fine. So they look to recuperate next week. Moving on here now. I got an exciting thing to talk about. It was something that was really exciting last season, and I do want to go ahead and bring up to you guys for some for a nice segment for the podcast that we do every week, and that is our weekly power rankings. So every week, what we did last season is we would have a power rankings that would be voted on by a panel of community members, and they would send me their power rankings. I would compile an average ranking for every single team, and I would rank them out top 10 for each, or now it's going to be top 10 for each tier on the podcast for everybody to see. So what I want to do then is I want to open it up to see if you guys are interested in doing power rankings this season. I do need one. If you are interested, I want one volunteer maximum per team to be a part of that. Basically, your one job will be to send me your power rankings every week. Try to be as unbiased as possible. Obviously, if your specs, you're going to rank Slot first every time. I get that. I'm going to rate Karma first every time. I get that. If Nick was here, he'd rank Invictus and Illusion not high every time. We know that. That's not the point. We're looking for trying to find a good average power rankings that kind of sums up what the community's viewpoint is on each tier. So if you are interested in doing this thing we did last season, we're going to do it again, is this power rankings. Let me know. Shoot me a DM on Discord. And again, this is for one up to a maximum of one person per team, so we don't have too much of a influence for one team onto the overall rankings. So let me know. Get in touch with me. We'll be debuting those next week. Moving on now to the segment that we talked about all week, and you saw in the Iris podcast section on the Discord, and that is buy or sell. The buy or sell is a very simple concept. We are going to say a statement that was brought forth by one of the community members in that Discord thread, and then the panelists here will decide if they would buy that, which is yeah, we agree with that, or if they would sell, which is no, that is a bad line of thought. What are you thinking? Maybe nicer than that, but that's just me. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and buy or sell. This is a bit rapid fire, but we'll burn through these fairly quickly. We're going to start off with a comment from Trash, now representing One Last Ride. His comment is, Kuna is the best hit scan player in the community. NPC, do you buy or sell that?
I sell that. I think we just proved that Guac is the best Widowmaker. Specs can disagree all he wants, but I'm going to say that. And I think there's definitely better flex hit scan players out there. But I mean, Kuna's good, but I think that there's a lot better out there.
Bex, what do you think?
You know, this might be as biased as I think I'll ever get. Kuna does play for Instalock, so definitely buy it. And I beat Guac in the Widow 1v1 last year. So again, buy. In all seriousness, though, his grapples with Widow is ridiculous. His off angles is insane. The way he's able to set up crossfires is top tier. I think he's definitely up there, if not the best.
I don't even know if he's top 10. I honestly, I'm gonna sell that. I put Guac, I put Melts and Land ahead of him. I put Dim Ryan ahead of him. I would put O Stories right on par with him. I would put Dally ahead of him, and that's just 5 right off the top of my head. Kuna's really good, and there's a lot of good hit scan players in the Discord tier, so that's not a shot on him necessarily. But at the same time, I don't see him as the best. I think that's just a sell. That's a straight up sell. He's really good, but he's not the best. So, moving on. Comment from Cryptic Force from Eclipse. Undead Battery becomes the meta rejects of Season 3, and they will make a playoff run. NPC, you're a little biased here. What do you have to say on your team?
Okay, I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to say that the Undead Battery, they look better every day. Those kids definitely have a chance at the playoffs. I'm not going to say that they're the top tier team right at the moment, but they're getting better every day, and I get to see them improve and grow. And I feel like, yeah, I mean, if they're the meta rejects of Season 3, that's what happened to meta rejects last season. They tried to fall apart early. Kingdom put them back together, started on day 1, and that's what's happening here to the batteries.
Bex, what do you think?
I just don't think there's enough data to really back that up at this point. To me, a playoff run is 2 wins, and I don't know if I see them winning 2 games in the playoffs unless they come in as a 7, 8, 9, or 10 seed. I think it's very hard to make a playoff run, and I just don't see that with this roster right now.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and say sell, but that's purely based on the fact that I don't think they're going to make a playoff run. I think they will make the playoffs, but I don't see them making a playoff run. So we're going to go ahead and move on here. Next topic at hand is from Pyro. Only one of the current top 4 teams in the Discord tier will be in the finals at the end of the season. So he specifically highlighted, obviously, the big 3 that we all know, Meteors, Commit, and Tough Luck. He kind of said the 4th is whatever the casters want to say on that. What do you think, NPC?
I buy that. I think it's still early. It's anybody's game out there. There's going to be a lot of shuffling on as the weeks go by. Like you said, Meteors, they lost Big Marf, and they're probably going to be fine. But there's going to be players that drop out for one reason or another, and there's just a lot of shuffling that's going to happen, and anything could happen. So I'll buy that. It's probably not going to be those top 4 in the finals. Not both of them, anyway.
Bex, what do you think?
There is 12 more weeks left in the season. There's way too much time, I think, to really have a top 4 right now. I think there's a distinct top 3, and of that top 3, one of them will make it. So I'm gonna go ahead and buy this as well.
I am going to say sell, because I think it's going to be 2 of them. I think the finals are going to be 1 of the or 2 of the 3, and I don't see it going any other way. I just don't think any other teams are close to where they're at right now. Harmony made a big run at Tough Luck, but Tough Luck also, I think they're trying to really get comfortable with their new squad. Bringing in Bang Bang Bear so late, I think, kind of impacted their chemistry a little bit. And also, I think they probably would have done better had they been scrimming a week without expecting Anarchy to be a support, which I love Anarchy. Probably would have been okay, but he's not a support. So I don't know. I think it's going to be the three of them. So moving on then, guys. Next one here is from Capital with Vitamin C. Boop and Pacified Pythons both go into week 15 0-14. Buy or sell? What do you think, NPC?
I'm gonna sell this. I don't believe this is true. It can't possibly be both of them. Okay, I mean, both of these teams have got a late start with restructuring. Actually, Pythons are going through restructuring right at this very moment, and I've seen some of the pickups they've got. I feel like they're going to get to a good space. And Spec said it once: even a blind squirrel finds a nut now and again. I mean, these teams have got to find a win somehow, some way. Maybe a carry on another team gets food poisoning or something, but there's no way that both of those teams go 14-0. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't agree. Go ahead, Specs.
I think it's very possible one of them do. I think it's absolutely impossible for both of them to. Very, very hard for that to happen.
Well, I mean, it's literally impossible because of the bye, for the record. But
true.
I mean, I don't know. There's just no way they're gonna win a match, at least one. Like, somebody's gonna have an off day, or even the teams will just get better. Like, Boop and Pacified Pythons have struggled, there's no question, but there's no reason they can't get better. It's a long season for a reason, guys. So there's no reason to assume that they can't turn things around by then. 0-14, there's no way. Not just literally, but not even 1-13. They're gonna at least have one, if not more. This one's from Asura with Invictus. Grizz is the best Hammond in the community.
This is a tough one for me. I'm gonna buy it, but honestly, it doesn't even matter because Hammond is basically Big Feed right now. So the title of having that title, best Hammond in the community, it's a yikes for me. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Specs.
You have to buy it at this point, but what's legitimately being a Hammond one trick doing at this point? I know, I lost to them. It happens. But that was when the meta was a little bit different, and it's going to change even more. Again, I don't think it really means much to be the best Hammond.
I think Hammond is going to see his time when the Sigma meta rolls in here, but I don't see Hammond being a effective tank right now, except in very niche circumstances, or in that you could do a dive. Like if you're actually doing like a dive comp, there are maps where dive works, and you could do a Hammond with a Diva right now. But I still don't really like Hammond's place in the meta. That said, is he the best Hammond in the community? I think you have to make an argument for people like Kingdom as well.
Yeah. I was about to say, I wrote my script before we saw that Kingdom 3K boop. So
exactly. I think both of them could make a case at being the best Hammond player. But I think I have to sell just based on a lack of information. I can't really buy into the comment the more I think about it. So moving on, Fighting Potatoes. This is one we've talked about a lot, but we're going to revisit it because they're now 1-2. Fighting Potatoes will make the playoffs. That's from Triage with Maelstrom. Go ahead, NPC.
I buy this. This is another team that I see get better every single week. I can see them making a run at a wild card spot from here. They're only going to get better the more and more coordinated they get, and I feel like they make a playoff run. Yeah, I mean at least wild card spot.
Specs, what do you think?
I really want them to.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if I see it happening. I think they're going to be on the fringe for it. I think it's going to come down to map differential, and I think that's going to screw them.
They do have a positive map differential despite being 1-2 right now.
They have a 4-0.
Yeah, I mean the other two losses are 3-2. So
okay, sure. I just still don't see it happening.
Fair. I'm gonna buy, and that's based on the fact that their losses are to who they are. Maelstrom, and Jetpack Cats. I think Jetpack Cats is kind of working to re-solidify themselves right now as a mid to top tier team in the Harmony tier, and I think they're doing that. Any team with Melts is going to be a threat right now because Melts is playing very well. But it's also the combination of O with Melts on that team, and Upsetting is playing really well as well. They get a very formidable DPS trio. What really stands out to me is just really their team play is getting way better. And that's something I kind of noticed as I was watching the Fighting Potatoes match. They're playing much better as a team than when I saw in week 1 when they played against Karma. I can definitely see them making a significant run. But again, about the Fighting Potatoes, they're 1-2 right now. I think they're in shape to make. They're up against Boop this week. I think will get that win. Bringing them to 2-2 with a really good map differential. I think they could do it. It's going to be tough. It's going to be close, but I think they get in between 8 and 10 on the seeding. Next one from Crispy with Maelstrom. Maelstrom has one of the most dangerous DPS duos in Harmony. Go ahead, NPC.
The semantics of this one gets me because there's qualifiers in there. There's one of DPS duos. If you had said Triage and Ruru are the most dangerous duo, I'd say it's debatable. I mean, you look at Melts and Upsetting on Jetpack Cats. You look at Mallard and Johnny Robot on Jalapenos. You look at Climate and Crimson on Battery. When you're up against that duo, you got to stop and you got to think about what are they playing and what do we need to play to get them off of that. And Maelstrom DPS duo, if they're one of the most dangerous, I'd buy it. But the most dangerous, I'm gonna sell it.
Go ahead, Bex.
Yeah, I'm gonna sell it as well. To kind of piggyback off of NPC there, Dim Ryan and literally anyone. I think they're a very good duo, top 3 for sure. I don't know if they are the best duo though.
I'm going to buy that they are one of the best, and just the same things that you said. I'm going to buy that. I will say this: Triage has had 2 opportunities in the Widow 1v1, and has lost the first round in both. I think that's interesting because Triage's specialty is the Widowmaker. I don't think it's because he's a bad Widow, but I think it's just because he knows how to play Widowmaker in a team playing environment. He knows how to capitalize on angles. When I look at other Widows who are really good at 1v1s, they're not quite as good as in a team environment. So I think that's just something worth bringing up there. But anyways, moving on to the next one here is from BethCon of the Holy Jalapenos. At the end of the season, the MVP in both tiers will be a newcomer to the community. NPC.
So I think one of them may be a newcomer, but definitely not both. I see several veteran frontrunners right now. Courage. We just got there's so many. I can't even name them all. Courage has been our early pick from the beginning, but one of them for sure, maybe a newcomer, Dim Ryan or something, but not both.
Specs, what do you think?
I think Dim Ryan and Yeti, one of the 2 of them, are going to lock it up for Harmony. I'm going to buy this because of what I see from some of the returning players. We've talked about Courage a lot. To me, he's been the biggest underperformer of the season so far. He's a very solid player. He's not making the impact that I think we all thought he was going to. And I know 3 weeks in, there's a lot to change with that, but I see him and a lot of the returning players. I think some of the newer guys got it out.
I'm going to sell this. I think that the MVP in both tiers is going to be a veteran. That's my current stance right now. Going to the next one is also about MVP, and it is... I got to update my virus protection. Thanks, Windows. Moving on. The next one here is Cryogenics. Is a front runner for MVP of Harmony tier. That's from Gios. NPC.
I'm going to sell. I don't think so. I just, he may deserve it, but in 2-2-2, it's going to go to DPS or tank. I just can't see it.
Go ahead. What do you think, Specs?
Sell for the exact same reasons. Even as a new support main, it's just not going to happen.
He may deserve it, but it's not going to happen.
I mean, I will say, playing on his team, he is our MVP. But I am selling just based on the fact that a support is not going to win MVP. As much as I hate saying it, I think he will be up there just based on how voting works for that. But he's not going to win it. And I love the guy. but he's not going to win it. Moving on is next question from Booth with Invictus. There will be 0 undefeated teams at the end of the regular season. NBC, what do you think?
I mentioned this earlier. I'm going to buy it because, I mentioned this earlier. Aside from the obvious, 4-0 forfeits, I think every team is going to have at least 1 win and 1 loss. It's just, we have tiers for a reason. These teams aren't going to be so unevenly matched that one team is just going to go undefeated the whole time, or one team is going to lose every match. There's going to be teams that are evenly matched, and it's just going to be their lucky day one day, and they're going to win, or maybe they're just they worked out their comms and they got what they need to get done. But there's not going to be any completely winless or completely lossless teams. It's just not going to happen.
Specs, what do you think?
Yeah, there's only 7 undefeated teams left at this point, and looking at all of them, I think that they each have their own weakness and can definitely be countered. Again, you just have an off day, your opponent has a great day, and that's it. Another 12 weeks of those 7 teams staying undefeated, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I'm going to sell it. As dominant as Commit has looked, and as dominant as if I'm looking at the Harmony tier, I don't think there's any team I don't think any team is invulnerable right now, for sure. Like, Careless Pandas might not lose anymore after their 2 forfeits, but at the same time, I just don't see Commit holding out that long. It's not even that they're a bad team. It's just that people may miss a week, or they might have an off day, or they get sick. It's a long season. I just don't see there's any possibility of that being happening. So, moving on here, guys. Next one is from Guac with Sugar Rush. Going a little bit out of order for the prep sheet, just Sugar Rush will continually be underrated until they raffle stomp everyone on their way to the championship. I'm going to go a little out of order here. I'm going to go over to Specs first, because you've been talking a lot of trash about Guac and Sugar Rush lately.
I do it out of love. A lot of love with those people. Let's see. They already lost a match this season, but it got overturned. They played a below average team, and then they played, in my mind, another below average team. I think they play Aimbots this week. I think that's an interesting matchup, and the winner of that game is really going to prove something to me. In the long run, I think they definitely make the playoffs and can win a game or 2 here. I don't know if they're going to roll through the tier, though.
All right. NBC, what do you think?
I sell this. I think being 3-0, they're turning heads right now. But I was gonna stop sleeping on them for a little bit, but I just don't see them clicking like they used to, like they did last season. Their toughest matches have yet to come. I just don't see them in the championship. I don't see them in the finals.
Let's keep in mind too how they started last season and how it ended up.
That's true.
So.
Okay, I'm gonna sell this just based on the fact that I don't think they're gonna win a championship. I can't. I mean, it's an impossible statement to buy just based on what we've talked about already. But I will buy that they are underrated. Here's the thing. I think the 2-2 meta is going to do favors, and it's not because of Guac. Guac is an insane hit scan. We've established this. Obviously, Widow 1v1 champion, arguably the best Widow in the community in all situations, not just in Widow 1v1s, but in team fights. Despite that one slip up against Specs in that one tournament last season, I think it's very clear that Guac is one of the best. But saying that they are the front runner, or saying that they're winning the championship right now, I can't say that. I can't fairly say that. But I do think they're going to get better because of the way the meta is shifting. I think what's going to be critical for that team is whether or not Light Rose can fully adapt to the Orisa meta. Because Laze is going to be great. Laze is seriously underrated, as underrated as it gets. There's no question. Like, Laze was an all-star last season, but coming into this season, everybody seems to have forgotten how good Laze is, just because of how good Guac is. Like, that's a duo that's all-stars from last season. So just keep that in mind, guys. Like, Sugar Rush, they may not be necessarily impressing, like in the traditional sense. They're not winning against amazing teams. Although I will say, Prodigious looks to be a pretty decent team. They're not winning against amazing teams. They haven't played Tough Luck, Commit, One Last Ride, Aimbots. They haven't played those teams yet. But who says they can't? I think they're way better than we've been giving credit for. So, anyways, moving on here. The next one is a team no one is talking about currently will make a massive playoff run. NPC, go.
I'm gonna sell this. I think we're talking about almost every team here. I mean, the season is beginning, and we all know that it's anyone's game. It's a very long road ahead of us. We've got our top 4 teams picked out. We think they're a lock for the playoffs, but those bottom 5 wildcard slots, they're up for grabs. I mean, we talk about, Boop and the pacified pythons and how they just restructured so recently, and they're still trying to find their footing. But we talk about them, and we think that there's potential there, and we see them grow, and we see them get better every game, even though they lose. The potatoes, the Jetpack Cats, they're gonna make a run. I mean, I think that might happen, but I think we're talking about them. I think we're talking about the teams that need to be talked about.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Specs?
All right. So we're gonna buy this one. There's a team that I can think of that we're not talking about at all that has a new support player that is going to carry.
I think we talk about that team a lot. It's just
I think
not
we do talk about that team a lot.
Not enough.
All right. Hold on a second. All right. I just muted Specs so everybody on the stream can be spared. Because my God, can we all agree? Am I right here? Can we all agree? I'm doing you guys a favor, okay? Yeah. No. Definitely don't talk about them making the playoffs. Anyways, Specs is unmuted now if he wants to go ahead and come back with some. Oh, he's writing on his whiteboard. He's writing on his whiteboard. You sure are. Anyways, all right, we're back here with the sound, guys. Everything's back up and running.
That you muted me too. What was that?
Hey, the easiest way to do it was just to mute the desktop audio. Okay. Randomly, we'll get to you guys. Don't worry. Moving on here, guys. Next one is wrong form. Here we go. I'm sorry, I didn't actually talk about this one. I'm buying it, and it's not any of the teams that we've talked about this far. It's Holy Jalapenos. I think they're going to get way better as the season goes on, and I think Holy Jalapenos is going to make a big playoff run. I could see them being a top 4 team by the end of the season, just based on chemistry building with that team. This one's from Modern Line with one last ride. Eclipse and Alt F4 will both make at least moderate comebacks by mid-season.
I buy this one. I think these teams are in a lot better shape than some of the other teams right now. Alt F4 got their first win this week, and as long as Eclipse doesn't get discouraged, I can see them winning a few of their games in the last half of their schedule. So, yeah, I can buy that.
Go ahead, Specs.
I think one of these two teams will. I think Eclipse will. I think their schedule is very front loaded. They're going to grow together as a team, and they're really going to come together. They're taking maps off of everybody they play. They are fantastic on control. I think they're going to steamroll that into a few wins, and I think Alta 4 is going to be painfully average at best.
I'm going to go ahead and say bye because I think both will be able to make comebacks. I'm not saying they'll be playoff teams, but I could see them both making aimbots types run. I think Eclipse is going to get better. I could definitely see with Red Gear on that team now. I think it kind of hinges on that tank line continuing to improve. I think that's the big thing that team needs to work on the most. Cryptic Force needs to find some of that magic he had in Season 1. Right now, he doesn't have it. And that's very clear. Sleepy does pretty well on the Orisa, but it just feels weird. It just doesn't seem right because it's working right now for the tank line. I would like to see them make some changes there. The next thing I would like to see is from Alt F4 is I think they need DPS help. I love Godspeed and I love O Stories. They are not cutting it right now for that team. They just aren't. They're outmatched. They really are. I think the DPS line is hurting them severely. And again, I think they are good people and good players, but they're not quite hanging with the other DPS lines that are being put forward right now. They're really struggling, and I don't see it working out for them unless they bring in some DPS reinforcements to help complement that squad a little bit more. Help fill in some holes in what they have in their hero pools, bring in some more strength to that team. I could definitely see that. So, it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this goes out with them. So moving on to the next one here, we're going to do just two more here. The next one is from, we'll do this one here. This one's from Exos from Commit. Sugar Rush, One Last Ride, or Prodigious will become a wild card and eliminate one of the top 3 teams in the playoffs. NPC, go ahead.
I'm gonna sell that. I could buy one of those statements, but there's an and in there that makes me want to sell it. You could eliminate top 3 team, and you could be in the top 5, but not a wild card. So I don't know that a wild card team is going to be able to beat one of those top 3. I just don't think it's gonna happen.
Specs, what do you think?
I'm gonna buy it because I think one of those 3 teams will be a wild card team and win 2 games in the playoffs. I think it's either going to be Sugar Rush or Prodigious. I think it's very possible it happens. I don't know if they necessarily beat a top 3 team, but they definitely win a few playoff games.
I think all 3 of those teams are very dangerous. I buy it just on the premise that all 3 of those teams are capable of beating any of those 3 teams. I don't know. It's kind of one of those situations, like 9 out of 10 times, I would favor the other team. Just based on what we see now. This could obviously be different by the end of the season. And there's no question about that. We're speculating at week 3 here, guys. Cut us a little bit of slack on that. The way Sugar Rush, One Last Ride, and Prodigious are playing, I could easily see them picking off one of those top 3 teams. I think right now, the most vulnerable team is probably Meteors. I think they're a little bit vulnerable losing My Big Marf. I know they're trying to make some changes, bringing in some new players and some tryouts, trying to rebuild some of those holes in that team. But until they do that, I think they are a vulnerable squad, and I think that's important to keep in mind here. I definitely have to buy it because there's just I don't see it going chalk all the way to the semifinals. I think the finals will be 2 of the top 3 teams, but I think one of those teams is going to make a big run and be like kind of the upset giant killer by the end of the season. Next one is. I'm sorry, the last one here is going to be from Cryptic Force again. And this is Tough Luck gets knocked out of the playoffs in their first playoff game. NPC, what do you think?
I mean, maybe if they get a first round bye, but otherwise I'm going to sell. The semifinals, maybe, but their first game, no. The way seeding works, I think we're going to see Tough Luck near the top, playing a lower tier team that just barely squeaked into the finals, and they're going to get stomped.
Go ahead, Specs.
I don't even know what to say about this. Who are they going to play? What's the team they're playing coming into the playoffs like? You're right, they're probably going to play a wild card team. How's that wild card team coming in? Did they start off slow and get hot towards the end of the year, or did they start off hot and get cold? I don't know what to say about this, to be completely honest. I'm just going to sell it.
Yeah, I'm going to sell just based on that too. I think you can't really reliably say that you can't say that right now. I think there's too many variables. And for what it's worth, while we're talking about all these other teams figuring out their problems, we talked about some chemistry concerns with Tough Luck. Who's to say Tough Luck hasn't figured it out by then? Like, I think we're kind of missing the boat on that one a little bit, guys.
They've just got a lot of personalities.
Exactly. So moving on here, next one is that was the last one, actually. All right, thanks everyone who did submit those questions. Made it very interesting. Right now we're going to take a look at Impers providing some very interesting comms from week 3 matches. So let's take a look.
15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, oh, damn it, 1, fighting! Oh.
Go, Hog.
I'm killing Hog.
I'm reloading.
Hog.
Get this corner.
Nice.
Hey, hide behind Bill. Reaper.
Alright, play together. Play together. Play together.
Ooh, Kuna. Ooh.
Kuna. Come on, you want that tuna, Kuna. Oh, he does. He wants that fresh fish. Oh, but he got sashimi on that.
96. They're not gonna touch. They're not gonna touch. Nice shot, guys! Awesome!
Alright, hot take right now. We will not get full road. Put this in the comms check. We will not get full road. I promise you.
Okay.
Nice!
Holy shit.
Oh, Max, we did it, dude!
Alright.
We did it!
Off the wall, we will have some Campbell noodle chicken soup for you after this game's over. Regardless of win or loss, there'll be some nice warm soup.
Whistle one. You have a point. And the Ana has no sleep.
Oh, it's massive! Yo!
Let's go, gamers. 3, 2, 1, fighting.
Dahlia's like, once I was a little girl and afraid of spiders, but then I got chips for the guac.
Dude, I don't know what fucking Twilight Zone we entered. Cryptic's landing hooks, Red Gear's, Red Gear's turned ugly. Fucking Cryptic said to clear comms.
Twice.
I'm ugly and I'm proud.
Say it again.
I'm ugly and I'm proud.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Specs.
Specs was wrong!
Specs was wrong.
Again. Specs was wrong. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Specs was wrong.
Specs, do you have anything to say for yourself?
4 win stops.
All right, guys. That's a lot
Double
of
down on that.
It's gonna keep doubling down on it until Alta 4 thrives. Anyways, guys, that was a lot of fun. Thanks for submitting that. Continue to submit those over to Impers. We're gonna continue to do those throughout the season. However, obviously it's a lot of fun playing with your teammates, playing with the community members. We do that through pugs. We do that through the community matches. A lot of these guys you do your ranked matches with. You chat about life, you chat about love, the pursuit of happiness. But what would be more fun than actually getting an opportunity to put some faces to names, guys? That's right. The Overwatch International Meetup, or the Overwatch Tranquility Community's International Meetup Day will be here soon. We'll be announcing the official date on that this coming week. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Taking a look here, just showing some of the pictures from last season. We had meetups all over the country. We had a meetup in California. We had a meetup in St. Louis. We had a meetup. I'm sorry, it was in Kansas City. We had a meetup in Minneapolis. We had a meetup in an impromptu meetup in Omaha. An impromptu meetup in DC. We had a meetup in Toronto. Guys, it's a lot of fun. I would really encourage you guys to be a part of that. We made some really cool connections. Also Chicago as well. They actually participated in a LAN tournament in Chicago. So guys, these are really cool opportunities to get to meet some of your players that you guys get to play with and against. So I hope you guys get an opportunity to be a part of that. Again, we will have specifics about that out soon. If you are interested in hosting at a location, it doesn't have to be your home or anything like that, but if you have an idea like, hey, let's host something here, let's do it at this place over here, wherever we end up going, we'll have a discussion about that. Let me know if you think we should host one in your city. We can talk about it at that time. Shoot me a PM. Happy to talk about it. All right. Next here is actually, if you're going to go to the meetup day, what would be really better than repping some Tranquility merch? If you're gonna go to the Overwatch Tranquility Community's International Meetup Day, it would probably be a really good idea to be repping your team, repping your squad. If you're looking for an opportunity to get some of your team's merch and rep your team's logo publicly, type !store in the chat. You can go there, get an opportunity to purchase your Tranquility swag, pick up your jersey, pick up your team shirt. You can pick up a hat, tote bag, sweatshirts, all sorts of things, guys. Take a look. It's a good opportunity to get some cool swag to rep your team and rep the Tranquility community. So hopefully you all get an opportunity to take a look at it. Last but not least here, guys, the thing that you are all obviously here for, and the thing that we delayed on as long as possible for some reason, is the predictions. Now, unfortunately, I was on vacation this weekend, so I didn't have an opportunity to get the graphics done. So we're going to go ahead and move forward with this old school We're going to start with Pacified Python. I'm sorry, we're going to start with the Tuesday feature match, which actually is canceled now, unfortunately, guys. We really wanted to have a Tuesday feature. Unfortunately, it was originally supposed to be Overtime Gaming, which it was supposed to be Frantic Lava Cats, but unfortunately, they're not here anymore. So we tried to get a replacement for them. Unfortunately, the replacement didn't work out, so we don't have a Tuesday feature match, but that was supposed to be what the feature match was, and that was supposed to be Aimbots versus Sugar Rush. We're going to go with them first. Go ahead. What do you think, NPC?
What did I think? Let me look at my notes. Python's Pandas? Pandas 4-0.
This was Aimbot Sugar Rush.
Oh, the Aimbots Sugar Rush. We're going Discord tier first.
Yes, Discord tier
3-1. 3-1 Aimbots. I like Sugar Rush, but I like Aimbots' comps. The positivity is a driving force right now, and I feel like it's 3-1 Aimbots.
Specs.
Also have a 3-1, but to Sugar Rush. This is the week I'll stop hating on them if they win it. I think it's very possible for them to. It's going to be an interesting game though.
I initially was going 4-0 Sugar or 4-0 Aimbots, and then I watched the Sugar Rush VOD back, and I changed my mind. It's still going to be an Aimbots win, but it's going to be a 3-2 Aimbots win. I think Sugar Rush is basically right on that same edge as Aimbots, like that 1A tier right now. It's gonna be a good match. I think either way, definitely worth the watch. Nonetheless, even if it's not going to be featured, guys, make sure to go check out that VOD. I'm sure Juke will be streaming it. I'm sure Light Rose will be streaming it as well. Next one on the list here is Tough Luck versus One Last Ride. NPC, go.
Tough Luck 3-1. One Last Ride. They're not slouches. I think they're gonna take a map, but Tough Luck are on a roll right now. The Hammond pun included.
Next, Specs, go.
Yeah, I don't think they take a map. I think it's Tough Luck 4-0. They're just scary right now.
I'm gonna go Tough Luck 3-2. I think One Last Ride is a lot better than. I think One Last Ride is about the same quality of team that Harmony and Chaos is, and I think Tough Luck is struggling to put it together right now with Kingdom and Bear. I think One Last Ride is going to take advantage of that, but I think Tough Luck still takes the win. 3-2. Next one, NPC go on Prodigious versus Infeus Gaming.
I went 4-0 Prodigious. I think Prodigious is going to take this. Just looking at what their hero pool looks like, Prodigious definitely not playing meta still, but I feel like they're not playing meta well enough that they're gonna take the 4-0.
Thanks.
I just don't know how to judge Infeus at this point. I think they're a team that can take a win or two, but I don't think this is the week they do it. I have Prodigious 3-1.
I have Infeus winning 3-2. I think this is the week Infeus starts to turn it around. I think they're struggling to find their footing right now. They were a very late addition to the Tranquility community, but I think that this is the opportunity for them to take advantage of a team that doesn't quite typically play within the normal meta. And I think they can take advantage of that if they're on top of their game. So I think a 3-2 going in the favor of Infeus game for this week. Next one on the list is Harmony and Chaos versus Instalock, and that's NPC.
I went 4-0 Harmony and Chaos. I feel like Instalock they dropped one of their feeding tanks, but I still feel like after watching Harmony and Chaos last night, it's got to be the 4-0. Harmony's really tough team.
What do you think, Specs?
Do you really want to know what I think?
Talk some trash, Specs. We love to hear it.
Keep it PG, all right? We're live here.
Play the meta. They don't. They just don't, and it's very counterable at this point. I think if you're running a Brig at our current state with a Reinhardt, you're asking to lose. I have us winning 3-1 because we can't win a control point. So
prove it, Specs.
Fine. Great.
I have 4-0 Harmony and Chaos. Moving on now, Renovatio versus Alta 4. Go ahead, NPC.
I have this going Renovatio 3-1. Alta 4, they got their win this week, but I don't know. I see Renovatio as another one of those top tier teams now. I don't know. Alta 4 needs to make some changes, like you said, DPS wise, but I see him taking one map. It might go 3-2, but it's going to go Renovatio.
Bex, go ahead.
Wait, Renovatio 3-1? Me picking against Alta 4?
I know, right? Shocker.
Yeah.
I think Renovadio finds their footing this week, and I think they take a 4-0. Obviously, the frustrating week 1 loss to Meteors was pretty impactful for that team. I'm sorry, week 1 loss to Otaku was pretty impactful to that team. Then they played Meteors the following week. Again, tough matches, 2 in a row there. And then they took the bye. Now they have Alta 4. I think they take this one. I think they're coming in. I think they're coming in hungry. I think they're gonna take a 4-0 here. Eclipse versus Otaku. NPC.
I went 3-1 Eclipse. I think this is Eclipse's week to win. So somebody asked, if Eclipse or Harmony was going to be the team to go to get the first win, and I think, I don't know, Eclipse might be able to do it this week. This is their opportunity to do it. If they don't win against Otaku, they've got like a bye week, and they've got some other stuff, and then they got Meteors, and then they've got Alta 4 in like week 7. So this is their opportunity to get a win now, and if they don't get it now, they're not going to get it again until Alta 4.
Specs.
Yeah, I have Eclipse taking this one 3-1 as well. I mean, there's not much to say about Otaku at this point. I just see Eclipse improving. I see them, shaping around the meta a little bit more. Having it one of the best Reapers in the community is huge, and I definitely think they take it this week.
It's gonna be a 3-1 Eclipse at least, if not 4-0 Eclipse. And it's not because I think Otaku is going to be a bad team. I think Otaku's changing a lot right now. Here's my hot take for Otaku. We're gonna see some familiar faces coming back. Call it a hunch, but all I'm saying is season 2 might be coming back for one last weeb ride, if you know what I mean.
Oh no.
Moving on, next is last match in the Discord tiers, Meteors and Invictus NPC.
I went Meteors 4-0. I feel like Meteors took that loss, but that's they're gonna bounce back from playing against Commit. I think Invictus, they're a good team. They really are. I just don't know that they're Meteors level. Of course, I made this prediction before they lost Big Marf, but you're Big Marf.
Specs, go ahead.
First of all, whoever picked up Marf, great pickup.
Yes.
So I have Meteors 3-2. But I would not be surprised if Invictus take this. I think Meteors, if they're going to be vulnerable, it's going to be this week. I think Invictus is a team that can absolutely tangle with Meteors at this point, given the state of the two teams. I have Meteors winning it, but I would not be shocked with Invictus if they take it.
Meteors is going to be angry and they're going to win 4-0. I think they're really frustrated with how the Commit match went last week. I like Invictus. I like the players on that team, and I think Booth is genuinely one of the best people and best players in the Harmony or in the Discord tier. But it's just not. No. Meteors is going to be hella hungry, and they're going to want to punish somebody for what happened last. And unfortunately, that team is Invictus. Sorry, Invictus. I don't like your chances here. I'm going to go Meteors 4-0. Moving on, next is the Harmony tier. And we're going to go now to the Careless Pandas versus the Pacified Pythons. Pythons are actually playing right now up against Vitamin C. They have their match delayed. And it looks like Pacified Pythons is falling right now. And currently, I believe the score is 3-0. But right now, Pandas versus Pythons predictions, NPC.
I kind of spelled this one earlier. Pandas 4-0. Pythons are right now also in the middle of restructuring almost completely. So I see them doing good things later on in the season, but right now against teams like Vitamin C and against the Pandas, they're a new fledgling team going up against some real powerhouses right now. So I see a 4-0.
Specs.
Yeah, 4-0 Pandas. Again, I don't think that's really saying much about Pythons as it is about the Pandas. I think they're still just a scary team.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. But I will say Pandas did drop 2 maps to Spare Change last week. And we've seen Spare Change struggling in a lot of situations. I think the Pythons, they're a little off their game right now, but they are looking for a comeback. So I could very easily see Pythons making that comeback as the season goes on. Right now, there's just too much rostering turmoil. ISO is trying to get that team back together. He's their team GM. I have a lot of faith in him pulling that team together, but at the same time, I don't see it happening as quickly as this week. It's going to be Avoro Pandas. So, moving on, next match. Spare Change gets the bye against Overtime, which we've already covered. Minty Hippos against Vitamin C. Go ahead, NPC.
I'm going 3-1 Hippos here. Vitamin C, good team, but I've seen what the Hippos can do against the Comets, and I feel like they're getting better and better, and they're building more synergy over time. We got to see a little bit of Quick on the Widowmaker in the 1v1. So that's kind of why I went Minty Hippos. I feel like their DPS is going to be the one that carries them through.
Specs.
Yeah, I have 3-2 Vitamin C, but I think this is the game to watch in the Harmony tier. I think Minty Hippos are a sneakily good team that can win this game. I don't know if they take it, but if they do, I think that says more about the Hippos than just about Vitamin C.
Quick is establishing himself as an incredible DPS right now for the Harmony tier. He looks to be one of the top DPS in the Harmony tier. I think this is the Minty Hippos coming out party here. Vitamin C has been regarded as the top team, or one of the 2 top teams or 3 top teams in the Harmony tier. And I think this is the time where Vitamin C falls. And I pick Minty Hippos 3-2 here. I think it's going to be a great match. Highly recommend checking out this VOD. I believe Taftimus, he's one of the ones who streams. He's a streamer, as well as Sushi, I believe, does do stream. Or no, I believe Capital actually is the one who streams for Vitamin C. So good match to watch, guys. Would highly recommend. So next one is Undead Battery versus Maelstrom. Undead Battery currently 3-0. Maybe a little help to get there, but they got there. Taking on Maelstrom. NPC, do you want to just talk about your boys a little bit before?
Yeah, we're the undefeated batteries. Well, we know we're not up there A level right yet, but they're getting there. We got a lot of potential. I believe in the guys. I picked 3-1 Maelstrom, just because I think we can do it. We know what to counter, but Maelstrom's definitely not going to be a slouch. This is the team. This is the game to watch for me. Now I kind of have to watch it.
Yeah, of course.
I will be spectating the match and streaming it, so you can kind of watch from me, and I'll kind of pass around from point of view to point of view. So,
Specs.
Yeah, I have Maelstrom winning 3-2. I think Maelstrom is just a very solid team. And if Undead want to prove themselves, this is the week to do it. I just don't know if I see them doing it.
I also don't see it. I think Undead Battery is a much better team than we saw at the beginning of the season, but Maelstrom's going to take this one. Maelstrom is looking very good. I think we talked a lot about the 3, the Karma, Vitamin C, and Karos Pandas. Maelstrom's kind of been in that A tier, like right at the top of the A tier. I think it's time to start talking about Maelstrom as a serious championship threat. So, next match here is Karma versus the Comets. NPC?
I put Karma 3-1. Comets are also another team that's doing a little bit of restructuring at the moment. I don't know that they're going to have enough players in their roles long enough to practice. I know that they're trying to reschedule that match away from Wednesday to give the Comets a little bit more time, and I appreciate Karma being flexible. So I want to see the Comets come out and take a map. I think they can do it, and I think that'll be good morale for them against a team that is kind of an upper tier Harmony team. So I said 3-1 Comets.
Specs.
Will you be there this week? 4-0 Karma.
I'm really excited to be back this week. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. I love playing against the people we're playing this week. Playing against Gillimed and Kitty is genuinely an enjoyable experience because they're both really cool people. I'm really excited to play them. I'm also really excited to just play this week. It's been a long time. I'm just itching. I'm ready to go. So yeah, I know Gecko's right. It was all Yeti's fault. Yeah, ski free. Or what was the line for? What was the crabs?
Yeti was the problem.
Yeti was the problem. Yeah, Yeti was the problem here because he wasn't there. So moving on, next match is Jetpack Cats versus DDoS.
Jetpack Cats, I got 3-1 over DDoS. I feel like Jetpack Cats, they got a lot of momentum coming off of that win from the Fighting Potatoes, And I feel like Melts is really fired up after winning the Widow 1v1. He's at the top of his game. He knows it. He's got confidence in heroes other than Genji at the moment. So I think that's what they're going to need. And they have the DPS edge over DDoS.
Max, go ahead.
I just don't know what to think of DDoS at this point. I think they can be good. I think they can be an upper tier team. I just don't know if I see them as that at this point. So I have Jetpack Cats taking it 3-2 for all the reasons NPC said there.
This one was really hard for me, actually. Because I think DDoS is a better team than what they've shown so far, but I went Jetpack Cats 3-1. I think Jetpack Cats are in a good spot. I think it's because of that DPS crew. I think what's going to bring Jetpack Cats over the top is improvement on their tank line. I think their tank line needs to get better, work on their synergy a little bit more. Once they do that, I think the sky's the limit for the Jetpack Cats. That was a good one. I amused myself. Next one is... I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry. Next one's Illusion versus the Holy Jalapenos. Go ahead, NPC.
I didn't really. This was a tough one for me. This one was a toss up because I know the Jalapenos are one of those teams that's kind of a slow burn, just like a jalapeno. Gets warmer over time. But I had to give it to Illusion. Coming off their win against Karma, I get it. The Karma basically didn't have a tank. I mean, it was like 5v6 most of the time. But I feel like Illusion might have the edge here. I went 3-2 Illusion.
Max?
Yeah, I think if we're going to start talking about Maelstrom as an upper tier team in this, or an upper team in this tier, Illusion's right there with them. I think Jalapenos take a map here because they are a dangerous team and they will start to turn it around. And I think last week was kind of the start of that. But I think Illusion are a scary team, and I have them taking it 3-1.
I also think Illusion's going to win this one. I initially said 4-0, but I'm going to change it actually to a 3-1 as well. Johnny Robot and Chimanzi and the Mallard, those three are kind of crazy. And playing against them is terrifying in general. I think there's a lot of things Holy Jalapenos can do to improve. The synergy is not quite fully there. They need to get kind of that micro management of how they use their cooldowns as a team together to capitalize on situations, but because of how good the PS are, they could still steal maps from you. I don't think it would be a shock if Holy Jalapenos won this, but I think it's going to be Illusion. Last match is the feature match that's coming up on Sunday, guys, and that is the Fighting Potatoes taking on Boop. Fighting Potatoes, Season 1 OGs, looking to take on Boop here. Boop, newcomers to the new team in the community. NPC, what do you think?
I think Boop have restructured quite a bit. Now I put 3-1 Potatoes on my sheet because Potatoes have continuously taken every game to map 5 against some pretty good teams. So this isn't to say something bad about Boop, because I've listened to some of their comms and seen some of the streams of the players playing, and they're really starting to connect and like gel together as players. And I think that's going to be the good foundation that they're going to build on. So, Boop is kind of this season's Potatoes, but they're getting there. They're getting there. And I said 3-1. I think Boop is going to take a map, at least one map, maybe even 2. But I think this is Potatoes' week to win.
Go ahead, Specs.
I think this is Potatoes' week to win, but I also can see Boop pulling it together a little bit more. I have it 3-2 as Potatoes. You're good. But I think Boop is starting to get to the point where they're improving to a consistent level where they can compete in matches. I think this week they're not going to have the edge to take it out, but I think by next week they will.
I'm so biased. I'm just gonna be real with y'all. I said 4-0 Potatoes. My Spuds are coming, guys. They're here. Spuds are looking. I think they're gonna.
Okay, well, to be fair, Yeti predicted 9 of 15 matches to be 4-0s.
I did.
So I mean,
I did change a few of them for what it's worth. Yeah. Potatoes, I think, are gonna win finally. I think it's on the backs of the players I've highlighted before. Rigmadon, and Gamstri are just a really insane duo, and I think they'll carry that team, put them on their backs, and bring that 4-0. So we'll see what happens, though, guys. Obviously, the predictions are all meaningless. That's why we play the matches. But that is about all we have on the podcast today here, guys. Again, as a reminder, if you are interested in Meetup Day, please send a message to me. If you are also interested in being a power ranker, please send a private message to me as well. We'll be trying to get a team of power rankers set up on this for this community by Wednesday. So if you're interested, please let me know, and we'll work out how we're going to be doing all that. And again, Meetup Day, try to let me know as soon as possible if you're interested in hosting a Meetup Day in your area. All right, on that note, for NPC and Specs of Ski for Yeti, we're calling it a night. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.
Experience tranquility.